Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Angela Kamau, as you've heard, PO at Inter Africa, a member of IAK, and I also sit on the board of AKI. Now, I shall be chairing the marketing paper today. I usually tell my colleagues that we are all marketers and customer service officers within our organizations, because that particular aspect appears in all our KPIs. And in all the discussions that were there yesterday and today, I'm sure matters marketing may have come up, and issues around data that we discussed about today morning, mining data, big data, CRM, and when you tell us we can't have all the information we want about our clients and we need to know how many DP policies to sell to you, it's a bit confusing for us. Matters IFRS, I think Mr. Mwangi is here. We underwriters have a way, a thing we call holding cover. We all know that thing, isn't it? So how does that augur with IFRS? I wish Mary was here and then she would explain. So holding cover, we hold cover with one little piece of information as we wait other information to come through. And also from Mary's presentation, it was very interesting how she clarified how we call our clients different names at different times. And I wanted to add a few more that we call in marketing, which is a referral, a lead, a target. They change as they go, isn't it? And even more interesting was coming from a client, Lucy, who presented today morning, where she said they are spoiled for choice. Which is a challenge for us in marketing, because I mean, if they can change from one to the other. But however, Lucy, I don't know if she's still here, I wanted to caution you, there are consequences of moving from one to the other, and your intermediary should let you know about that. And if we have a conversation after this, I've officially made you my target. Okay. Another characteristics, and this is in matters silos, and this came up, I think, a lot yesterday because I had somebody refer to that. Even today, we talked about silos, collaboration, sharing of information, and I know it's one of the things that we've been grappling with at AKI, where we have this image and we want to share information, etc. But we also have one very peculiar characteristic that has been in this industry for the last 30 years that I have been, and even before, which is called recycling of clients and employees, isn't it? Where we suffer the consequences of taking on moral hazards, isn't it? And picking up those who are not fit and proper. I'm sure Teresa understands what I'm talking about. Those who are not fit and proper. So anyway, to start off our marketing paper, marketing plays a crucial role in the insurance market. And from the macro perspective, it creates awareness and gives possibilities on how to improve the penetration levels that we had about. At a micro, it also is a challenge because we need to make our products stand out. And you know our products are more or less the same. A fire policy is a fire policy, a DP is a DP. So, and even more so is the fact that we sell intangible products. We actually sell pledges. They're pledging that we're going to do if this and this happens. So we are therefore called for as an industry to innovate and engage and use various marketing strategies and tools to attract more customers and generate profits for our organizations. Now, today's first speaker will take us through what the MC mentioned, leveraging on opportunities and growth prospects to increase profitability in the region. And I shall give you his profile. Mesfin Abebe is the Assistant Director Underwriter, Marketing at Africa Re, the Nairobi Regional Office. Mr. Abebe worked in a direct insurance company in Ethiopia for about 17 years in various positions, from a risk surveyor to a D/Director/CEO position. Before joining Africa Re in 2013 as an engineer underwriter, he graduated from Addis Ababa University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering. He was awarded a Master's of Business Administration from the United States International University, better known as USIU, Africa, Nairobi, Kenya. He has also received various short-term insurance training from multiple institutes, In addition to his underwriting knowledge and skill, he has experience in client training and risk service. I shall introduce both because of the interest of time. We also have a second speaker, who we so to say is an outsider, but from the grapevine, I think he whispered he was once one of us. His insights will be also very critical in giving us an eye on those opportunities that Mesfin will talk about and how we can take advantage of them. So Mr. Danny Mushira is an accomplished business leader who's passionate about empowerment, entertainment, and the role of creative arts in uplifting African youth to enable them to stand up and shine. Currently, he heads the Trace business in East Africa as the MD, tasked with rolling out full suite of Trace products in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia. By way of introduction, the widely acclaimed Trace, the brand launched in 2003 and originated from an iconic magazine. Trace has since grown into an Afro-urban cultural entertainment force with 300 million fans and a mission to empower and uplift young people globally. Trace Media, digital entertainment and education platforms are available in 162 countries and are segment leaders in Africa, Brazil, France, and the UK, France, the UK, Caribbean, and the Indian Ocean. Danny leads the Trace agenda for the empowerment and entertainment of its audiences, and this entails running 3 TV channels, Trace Gospel, Trace Musica, and Trace Muziki. I hope I pronounced them well. From Nairobi, and 1 radio station, Trace 95.3, has a national reach. He's highly effective and accomplished business leader with a proven track record in strategic and commercial leadership spanning 20 years. He excels in orchestrating strategic change, driving organizational behavior and culture, and building momentum around business goals that deliver superior results. Danny Mushira earned his bachelor's degree in commerce as a finance major at the University of Nairobi, and also a chartered public accountant. He has also undertaken development programs from Wits Business School and INSEAD School of Business Paris. With a career spanning over 20 years, he has worked in various industries, namely oil and gas, telecommunications, finance, media, and entertainment. And he has worked with some key institutions in this industry, namely Shell and BP, Safaricom, Old Mutual, I told you he was one of us, MultiChoice, Radio Africa, and currently Trace Eastern Africa. May I welcome our speakers today, and then we can have the questions and feedback after their presentation. So, Mesfin.
I was prepared to say good morning, but it's after, and it is difficult to present a paper Friday afternoon, especially when you are blocking people's lunch, and also some people they start their weekend on Friday afternoon. So I will try to be brief and precise so that we can finish on time. But all protocol observed with the permission of the Madam Chair, I want to speak 2 or 3 minutes about Africa. Because when I stand here, some of you might know that I am your employee. So I want to introduce to you about Africa. Africa is established on 1976 by member state of the then Organization of African Union, now the AU member states, by the international treaty. And at that time, the signatory were around 36 member countries. So Kenya is one of them. So our mission is to foster the development of insurance and reinsurance industry in Africa, to promote the growth of national and regional and sub-regional underwriting and reputation capacity, and to support, above all, to support Africa development. So whatever we are doing focused to for African development. Our shareholder structure is currently we have around 42 member state signatories. African Development Bank is also our shareholder, actually the biggest shareholder, and 3 non-African shareholders like AXA, Allianz Re, and Fairfax, and above all, almost 101 insurance, reinsurance companies and brokers. So this is our shareholder structure, and in Africa, no one is allowed to take more than 10%. So we are not going to be owned by anyone. We are owned by a collective African entities. At glance, Africa is the first reinsurance company in Africa and the Middle East to have the highest net earned premium, and we are rated A- by Standard & Poor's and A by M based. So this put us in good stand to compete with worldwide reinsurance companies across the globe. So our forefathers' dream actually is to achieve this thing. And I think one of the participants was mentioning that why insurance companies are not cooperating, why the reinsurance companies are cooperating. I'll touch that one later on, but even as African, when we cooperate, we can achieve, I think, miracles. So with this short description about Africa, I will go straight to my presentation. Just allow me to share. So I will talk about the leveraging on opportunities and growth prospects to increase profitability in our region and across Africa, actually. So I think this thing has been mentioned since yesterday, the low insurance penetration rate. Why we are repeating it now and then? Because it is a concern for our industry. If we don't do something, I think our industry, we might close some of the companies. So, and it is a big opportunity for us. In advanced markets, the average insurance penetration is 9.6, and South Africa, which is actually even highest in worldwide. We can say in South Africa's insurance penetration is one of the highest. It is around 17%, and global average is 7.2. So when we talk about insurance penetration, it is nothing but the contribution of premium to GDP. That's all. So in Kenya, it was 2.9 in 2014, then it went to 2.43 in 2018. The peak was in 2012, around 3.4, I think. Now it is stagnant around 2.2 in 2020 and 2021. As per IRA reports, 2021, the industry grew by 18.5% on gross premium income. But when you look at it, I mean, just looking only the growth of the premium, we think that we are growing. But I think it is, if the regulator is around, it is also good to have the exposure. How much is the exposure is growing? I think the exposure is growing tremendously, and our premium growth is not that much satisfactory. Why? We will talk about that one. Then the other measurement which we can see about insurance is insurance density. Insurance density is nothing but the total premium contribution to or shared to the number of population in one country. So in Kenya, it is around 5,000 Kenya shilling. If you divide the gross premium to the number of population, you will get around 5,000. So we are spending around 5,000, which is around $41, which is very low. So the industry is not generating actually or getting benefit out of the numbers. Imagine Kenya is a very what's called when you see around East Africa, it is a vibrant market, and economically it is well ahead of the regional countries. Uganda, you can see 0.8, 0.8, or almost 0.8 in insurance penetration. The growth is 11%, but when we see the density, it is $8.25, which is lower than even Kenya. Tanzania 0.5, which is low, the penetration. And actually, the fourth country which is in East Africa economy is Ethiopia, and it is even much lower than this. The penetration is around 0.2, and the density is around 2.3. So we have a big opportunity in this respect. So this is the Kenya key performance indicator for insurance in Kenya. It is published by the financial sector regulator. You can see the premium is growing from year to year. The last change is around in 2020, I think, grew by 17.6. But the growth in premium and asset increased. The return on equity and the return on asset. If you see the percentage are very, very little. So why investors are interested to invest in insurance? Because our premium income is too low. So we are not encouraging investors to come to us. Uganda is also the same. There is a growth, but when you see the penetration, the density, everything is, sometimes it is stagnant, sometimes it is going down. When we see global, this is for advanced markets. Look, for example, Hong Kong, the penetration is around 20%. And in life premium for the density, it is around $9,000. So on average for developed countries, the average is around, the density is around 2.5, while the penetration is around 10%. So we are a bit far. This one is for developing countries. And you can see where Nigeria, Kenya, we are almost nil. So it is a wake-up call for us. We can do better than this. So how can we do it? I think we need to rethink about how to reach the mass. We have the population, and we are not reaching the mass. We are only targeting corporates. So that is the big gap we have in our industry. We are not giving innovative products to our customers. We are just copy and paste and competing only on motor. Since yesterday, we are talking about motor. We are not talking about other classes. Even the brokers are talking about motor. And I think yesterday someone was presenting, if I'm not mistaken, it is Mr. John. He was saying the flexible premium payment monthly. You know, he told us that how South Africa managed to do that penetration because of that. Why don't we bring it here and try to implement it of course, with the support of the regulator. Then the other one is, if we are not strong, even we are weak in lobby, the government. If our contribution is too low to the GDP, the government will not listen to us. So we need to be strong and lobby the government, especially for products like agri. Agri products, the normal farmers in Africa, they don't afford it because it is expensive. It is cyclical and it is loss making. So it should be subsidized. For that, we need to lobby. How? Coming together. Someone was mentioning that why insurance companies are not cooperating. This is how we can cooperate and lobby the government to do the subsidies. We can give example like Zambia. The government is subsidizing and they are paying almost $10 million premium. Right. The next opportunity we have is pricing. Are we doing proper pricing in underwriting? I think yesterday and even today it was mentioned that we are only focusing on sum insured. Actually, to make it worse, we are not even some companies. I know some companies, they do diligently their underwriting. They ask the questions, they do proper underwriting, but there are some companies, they just underwrite the premium. I mean, in quotation. When I say premium underwriting, maybe I quote, for example, 100,000 without knowing the risk, the sum insured everything. They will say, I'll charge you 95,000. Come to me. This is how worst the competition is in our market. So pricing is vital because we heard also yesterday we need to reward profitable business and also punish loss-making accounts. That one we can do it only when we do a proper underwriting. So why we are making consistent loss? For example, as per IRA Q4 statistics for 2020 and 2021. Underwriting loss 6.34 billion, which is motor private, commercial, engineering, PA, marine, aviation. Those are the contributors. But the consistent contributors are motor private and motor commercial, because we focus only on motor, or we don't innovate those classes, or we just compete only pricing. 2020 is also the same. So unless we do proper pricing, it will be difficult for us to come out from this vicious circle. And I don't know, even some companies, whether they have risk appetite policy, saying that this risk we are not accepting. Don't write this risk in our book. I know some international companies they don't write, like yesterday, for example, it was mentioned that AIG, they have that risk appetite policy. But when are you going to that stage? And collaboration. We need to collaborate to reward good clients, or there is no bad client anyway, but to reward profitable business and punish or pay. They need to pay who is giving us loss. So we need to look these scenarios. Then the other opportunity we have is discovery of oil and natural gas in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan, and Ethiopia in our region. I'm not sure you are aware that this much exploration is going on in East Africa. Who is aware? all these international companies, this one, the here, which are listed are international companies who are doing exploration. Are we aware? Or just this risk is passing without us knowing? We are busy in competing in water. You see, in Uganda, this one, oil is already there. And they are trying to do pipeline to the port. But European Union are trying to block that. So as African, if we don't cooperate and support each other, who is going to come in to support us? I can give an example in Tanzania. There is a dam, a huge dam, hydro power plant is being constructed, refugee dam. The international companies, they say no, because it is damaging conservation, other issues. So we need to step in to support that, because unless we support each other or build our capacity, it is difficult for us to grow and prosper. So we need to focus or build our capacity in knowledge, skill, for such special risks. We can't have it in overnight. We can't have oil and energy underwriter overnight. It takes time, but we need to start it now. Unless we start it, then we will end up like a fronting office to the international market. So the capacity building on skill, knowledge, and capacity is vital. So I call upon like the IK, Insurance Institute of Kenya, AKI, College of Insurance, reinsurance companies to come together and to do something on capacity building on such special risks. And this is also an additional, sorry. Sorry. Yeah. So these international companies I showed you, they were been drilling wells since 1950. Since 1950, they were drilling because they know there is a resource in our region. They are advanced. They can see it from satellite. They can tell them, that satellite imaging can tell them where the most probable area to look. So they have been drilling. So they have been successful in 20s and in 2010s. Like for example, in Uganda, they have been doing this well around 40 to 50. So they discover oil. They managed to discover oil. And in Tanzania, we have gas. In Ethiopia, also some gases or some oil is shown. So the capacity is there, the opportunity is there. So it is us need to be prepared for this business. So the other opportunity is population size in East Africa. It is almost 1/3 of the African population. We are around 1.3 billion. So sometimes people say that as a joke, these guys, they don't sleep. Sometimes they say that no, they are using God's given resource properly. And sometimes they are saying that it is a effect of power shortage. If there is no electricity, you sleep long. So what can you do? So, but that is on side note. But it is a big population, and it is a big opportunity. And when you see the median age, it is between 80 and 20. So it is trainable. you can use it for production, and maybe we should give to Catherine and Paul, to our life underwriters, some percentage coming 20, maybe in 2030 or 35. How many of these people are going to be insured for life insurance? So we need to look the numbers, and I think rather than just using the traditional products, we need to customize our products to reach to the people. So this population actually has so many implications. The market, it will show you the market size. Big opportunity. If you are trying to get, for example, 0.1 shilling and multiply in some percentage of this, so your growth will be enormous. So the other opportunity, it was a challenge, but we need to use it as opportunity. COVID-19. No one was expecting or knows that this thing will happen in our life. And COVID-19 changed the dynamics of the business, and now we have new risk opportunities because we are doing so many things online, working from home. I think so there is an opportunity for cyber and technological related risk. So how much companies are doing cyber risk in Kenya? Very few. And those very few also fronting to international market, even they are not retaining or they are not training. All right, I will be fast. Then life insurance. COVID-19 tells us that life matters. So many people have left their families without any saving. So we need to teach our people that life insurance is about saving. So if you see the distribution, our life premium is low compared to the general insurance. Then industrialization. We can do more production with cheap labor. You saw the number of people we have in our region and the working force. So we can attract actually industrialization to our market better than China. The most crucial thing is actually political peace and stability. At this junction, I want to applaud Kenyans. What you have done, I mean, in this recent election. It is, putting the bar at high. It's not only for Africa, but the whole world. So that stability is necessary for industrialization. And we can use an example of industrial zones like in Ethiopia and Kenya. You know, the government builds the industrial zones. Then the investor will come and do their job. So the capital required will be reduced so that they will be encouraged to do the production in our market. The other one is the Ukraine-Russia conflict. This one, opportunity, it gives us an opportunity to relook ourselves because the effect felt in Africa in a form of increase in food price. Then we need to ask ourselves, then why we are importing wheat from Russia, or why we have fertile land in Africa. And it is, as African citizen, actually it is a shame to import wheat from those countries. So I think that's why we need to be strong and lobby the government that we can support here by providing agri insurance to our farmers, to mechanized farming, so that we can avoid such turbulence. And I think we talked yesterday about drought and flood also. That is the reason we need to lobby the government to have. I just want to give you some the volume of premium, agri premium in the world. This is an estimate from AOL. Africa by 2020, it will be around 300 million. Just to compare this one with Japan. Japan premium, very small, you can see here. It is 1.4 billion. It is the size of Africa population. So we can do better in agri-insurance. Just give me only 1 minute. I'll finish. Then the other one is African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. You might be aware that this treaty has been agreed by almost 55 countries. It is only one African country which has not signed. So the Secretary General of Africa Continental Free Trade Area said once, sends a strong signal to the international investor community that Africa is open for business based on a single rule book for trade and investment. So it gives us a huge opportunity to trade across Africa without trade barriers. So this is a big opportunity. It will not happen immediately, but it is a good opportunity. Then the other opportunity we have is resource. We have a lot of mining, so we need to do add value, industrialization. Then another one is the technological advancement. So we are in digital era, so we need to reach to the people. Then the new opportunity we have is trade credit, cyber risk, and construction risk. All this, we need to tap it. And we need to go out from motor insurance, please. Let us concentrate also on other products. And the other opportunity we have as a collaboration is we can do pool, PVT pool, natural disaster pool, infectious disease pool. All this will contribute for our premium income and boost income for investment. Then the last one is the reporting standard, which is already mentioned. What matters is the bottom line. So this is a good opportunity for us. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm the outsider who is to be an insider. So it's a privilege to be able to speak to this distinguished assembly, to see some faces I've known from my past life, as like Evans, Kagia, Soul Insurance with, and just to meet colleagues that I've known in my previous life. My name is Daniel Ishira. I'm the managing director for TRIS in East Africa, and I'm delighted to be here. I must confess, I'm also a national fan, and I hope the ones that are here, we're finally able to put our jerseys after 10 years. We've not been able to put our jerseys from last year. So we finally can even say we're coming out of the closet. So just to encourage my brothers and sisters that support this team. But I think the story also is that I think with every season comes new opportunities. We've suffered for long, but now we're seeing the light. So no light. So interesting. It's been long since I was in touch with this industry. So when I was asked to talk about opportunities, I said, now what can I tell you guys? And yet, you guys are the subject expert matters. I think I've broken down the opportunities that are relevant to your industry. And I'll just try and give an overview from what we're seeing from a trend perspective, from a different industry perspective, and hopefully we can try and marry that into opportunities that come through from an insurance industry perspective, and use that to leverage to create growth, ultimate profitability for your industries. I think increasingly what you see is the world is converging in a lot of ways. Someone said here, Safaricom is no longer a mobile network operator. They a financial services provider. They probably got the biggest loan book when it comes to lending. They're now getting into insurance. They're easily in entertainment. So I think, the world cannot longer be looked at in a one-dimensional lens that we've been used to looking at. And I think that's what I want to encourage you, even as you go along. How do you start looking at the world? What's your world view? How do you look at the world? What are the opportunities? Because therein lies today's opportunity. Our consumers are extremely advanced given what's happening on the technology front. And so I'll try and just shed a few insights around that, and hopefully you can translate into how you look at the business and solve the problems that you're trying to address with this particular forum. So in terms of just emerging trends, what are we seeing? When we say, and I'm sure in your course of speaking yesterday and today, there's a lot of stuff around digital revolution. So what are we seeing? We're seeing a world that is converging. So you no longer have players that are strictly industry. We're seeing technology companies like Uber, Booking.com, Airbnb, all of a sudden becoming Forbes 100 companies, actually Forbes top 10. If you look at the Forbes top 10 companies, 6 out of those companies are technology companies, based out of zero assets. And now when we sit here, we talk about assets and the management, but if you look at those guys, it's business models that are digital driven, borderless, and very unstructured. Like even when we talk about things like Netflix, a big question is always, where do they pay their tax? They're not even paying tax in Kenya, but they're operating in Kenya. So I think that's what we're seeing with this revolution. So just keep that in mind in terms of even how you develop products going forward. Do they have to be products for this market? Are they products that can be across markets? I think how do you create scale becomes a bigger question in terms of value provision. I think we've seen consumers leapfrog corporate technology. So if you look at how the internet has panned out over the last 40 years or so, it's been very interesting because when we had, and we call it net 1.0, I mean, that was driven by corporate. So, email messaging, SMS messaging. Net 0.2 was video, again, driven by a lot of corporates. But what we're seeing now in net 0.3 and net 0.2, net 0.3, 3.0 is really around the metaverse, big data, all these things we're talking about. But I think what we're seeing a lot of is that most of it is being driven by the mobile phone. So the mobile phone is at the center of what's happening. And for once, we're seeing consumers leading technology apart from corporates. And that's a big thing in terms of just how you innovate and how you produce products for these particular consumers. We're seeing maturing technologies. So, I was hearing guys talking of Excel sheets. How do we leverage things like blockchain? What are we doing in terms of how we capture data to make our operations efficient, to create records that can be easily transferable, that have integrity insofar as your reporting standards are concerned. So I think these are all the things that are happening from a technology perspective, from a business model perspective. And this for me is massive. And I think you guys need to look at it with more options. We're moving from a business to consumer model into platform models where, our traditional business, where large businesses servicing atomized and connected customers is being challenged. So, customers are connected, interacting with small businesses, creating scale that we've not seen on a previous level before. I like talking to things like, Uber before, because we're all aware of what's happening with things like Uber. Before, the model was such an atomized model. It was a taxi to an individual. Now you have a platform that doesn't own any taxi and is able to generate huge value from that perspective. And it's if I asked people here, when is the last time you used a normal taxi? It's very difficult to find, If I ask you, get me a cab, what is the first thing you do? You reach out to your mobile phone and it's either Little Cab or Uber or all these small apps that are there that are extremely powerful. So the business model is really changing. And I think even from an insurance perspective, we really need to question them. I know there are agents here and people get very protective around these things, but you know, do we really need to distribute the way distribute? I know there's regulatory, and I'm the outsider here, so I know the times you may say, hey, you don't know what you're saying. From a regulatory perspective, you need that certificate. What is it called? COP. Yeah? And so, I mean, I think, but if you look at where the world is going, the consumers and what they're asking for, if you do not embrace the dynamics, what then happens is you continue having the conversations around penetration. You know, I was in this industry, I think 10, 12 years ago, and I'm surprised the penetration, the same discussion you're having, we had it 10 years ago. So we used to sit and we used to say, oh, penetration levels are, and you can't have this discussion 10 years from today. Otherwise, then it will mean these sessions are not achieving the objective that they're supposed to achieve. You know, when our president went to the NSC and said, we'll take back your salaries, you know, there's been no progress or no company listed for the last 5 to 6, 7 years. And, you know, depending on, if you look at it, it's a fact. So we really need to ask ourselves the question, and I think Mesfin alluded to that in his presentation. I think when you're looking at the people you're dealing with, millennials, I don't see a lot of them in this room. I think IIK should ensure you have more of these guys. And the reason I say we should have more and more of them is because you get to understand their insight and how they think and how they reason, because they're the biggest population. When he says 18 to 20 is a median, in a population of 540 million across a huge part of sub-Saharan Africa, then that's really our target audience. And if we do not understand them, how do we produce products for them? So, you know, their mindset that is technology driven, where technology is a tool, is not a tool, it's a language, where social media is not a channel, but the way they interact with society. So I've got a 14-year-old daughter who can't believe that I use WhatsApp to communicate. They're on TikTok, they're on generation apps, Snapchat that I don't understand, you know, but that's the audience that you're going to be talking to from a market perspective. How do you produce products for them? And I think, you know, when Mesfin talked to 540 million, talks to scale in terms of addressable target audiences out there. And then everything now is connected from the phone to your handsets. And so if you're doing products, how do they fit into that connected world that everyone is looking at? I just quickly run through media because media speaks to communication, speaks to how you position your products. I don't know if you knew this, but it's interesting that if I ask you how you create awareness, I'm sure you're all either creating awareness through TV, radio, print, and increasingly maybe digital. But I mean, when we look at the trends from a media spend, the last 4 or 5 years, it's declined. Why? It's no longer relevant. Why? People are no longer watching TV as you may think. And I'm sure most of you have kids. It's rare to see your kids watching TV on the big screen. It's only us guys who still watch news. I mean, they're always on their phones, on their iPads. So increasingly, even from an advertising perspective, and I'd love you to advertise with me because I make money, but increasingly that's not how people are spending money. I mean, TV is still preferred, but these things are on the decline. So where are people spending money? It's on digital. If you look at internet penetration in Kenya, I think it's even up above 46%. If you look at smartphone penetration, we're looking at about 50% in Kenya. And Evans used to be in Safaricom, so you can tell you. When you guys are in Safaricom, just probably less than 10%. We're looking at over 50% of Kenyans having a smartphone. And a smartphone is really a powerful device. It's a computer sitting in someone's palm. So you can be able to transact any type of transaction. And it just speaks to probability or opportunity from a product perspective that you can position before the phone. Increasingly, the most important gadgets is not even your wedding ring anymore. Yeah, it's your handset. People will leave the house without their ring, but I can bet you no one leaves the phone without their house without the handsets. People will drive back 5 kilometers, 6 to get their handset. It's the most important tool in today's world, and everything is happening. It's the nexus of where everything is. So the question for you is, are you present in that platform from a retail perspective? And you're not present, then you're losing out on a massive opportunity. I think social media has exploded. I'd want to know how many guys here on social media, but let me not put you through the pain, but everything is happening on the social platforms. It's not just a communication tool, it's a lifestyle, it's a way of interacting, creating connections. I tell guys that I don't need to see the newspaper to know what's happening. I just need to go on Twitter now and I'll see what's trending. You can see which case has been thrown out, which one has been brought back in. So by the time someone is putting that to you in a paper tomorrow, it's old news. Yeah, so why should you pay for that? So business models are really changing. I think I spoke of the shift from big to digital in terms of screens. E-commerce is another huge one. And I think there lies in also the opportunity for you. You know, today, increasingly, a lot of people, especially in urban areas, are not physically going to stores to purchase things. You know, you have Jumia as a forum. If you're buying anything, I see women shopping, the ladies are shopping in the supermarkets using apps. You don't have to leave your house. It's a convenience lifestyle and a value-driven lifestyle. So again, when we position products, how are we positioning them? Do I have to come to your office? Like I can't remember the last time I went to a bank. So why do I have to come to your office for anything? Whether I'm coming as a claim, what do you call them, claim? A claimant or a prospect or a complainant. Why do I need to come to your office? Because today's world, there's so much happening, you don't have time to make these physical trips. And with the traffic, okay, I guess with the price rise in fuel, we may see traffic decline, but with the traffic in Nairobi, you really don't want to be making moves that are not necessary. And then I think for us in the media, you know, the net internet 3.0 presents massive opportunities in terms of how we create for you guys communication. So if you think about it, you know, like if you come and tell me, let's do an advert for TV, the minimum it costs you, if you're really, really conservative, is 2 million shillings. And that's because we have to go somewhere, create a set, shoot the set, produce it, go into post-production. It takes a month or two. Even by the time we're putting it out there, probably a bit old. But with Metaverse, we're able to create reality in a... So like I can create for you an ad for where you're seated in Paris using a green screen. Yeah, and it will take us 2 days, and it will cost you $500,000. So those are the kind of things. And I also tell guys, you know, like when you put your ads for your products, your traditional way is you go to Citizen and you tell them I want prime time. And they then put for you the ad there. Now we're able to position ads inside programs as opposed to outside of programs. So in content, because if you think about it, what happens when the TV guys tell you, let me take a break? That's when you go and check on what's in the kitchen, or you go to the toilet for a break. You know, never get to watch that ad. Yeah, so it's out of content. But the best way for you is when you're watching something and it's embedded within the program you're watching. And now you have technology that enables you to achieve that using Metaverse. So you're able to get more captive audiences, create better awareness, and ultimately better conversion in terms of products that it is you're looking at, putting out there into the market. I mean, I think in today's age, if you have a session around strategy and you don't speak around what's happening in the mobile world, I don't think it's fair. And it's because it's driving our entire ecosystem. So these are just some key insights when you look at what's happening in mobile network operators, smartphone penetration. I spoke to that, about 50%. I worked with with Kiraivan in Safcom. We used to have things called Mulikamuizi. I don't know, I've seen someone was sitting and they had a Mulikamuizi. You know those phones that are used by, if you see someone using that phone, they probably run a drug cartel. You know those Mexican, huh? So don't allow the guy, it's because this guy does not want to be traced or tracked. Yeah. So I mean, we've moved from those phones to smartphones. So everyone here probably has a phone that is either Android or iOS, can easily do their work, emails, communicate, take videos, massive. I'm sure your phones have thousands and thousands of videos inside there. I mean, that capability is at the palm of your hands. But we need to find out what can we do in terms of product placement and how we develop and originate products so that they're able to utilize that particular platform. Internet usage, 70% plus across Kenya. I think that's quite high. We're seeing a lot of, in terms of value added, it's very interesting. And having worked in Safaricom, when I look at, and my friend here can confess, you know these ringback tones. What do you, when you call someone skiza and you skia like a cartoon or a song, you know, the volume of money they generate from that particular product right now is probably, they generate around 12 billion shillings a month. So you're looking at what, 50 billion shillings a year. And please note, it is not run by a department. It is run by a junior analyst in Safaricom. So I can challenge us how many insurance companies do that kind of turnover. But what am I saying? It is simple solutions. In at times, when we are too smart, we over-invent things. So, you know, why don't we have things that if guys can buy ringtones, then you know that thing really sumbuas my head. Huh? Because if you buy a ringtone, you know, I'm not even the one listening to it. It's you calling me who listens to it. Yeah? And guys have creative things. You kitaka kurusha mawe, hata Daudi alirusha mawe. I'm like, and guys buy those things. Yeah? And they spend 150 billion shillings every year. But we complain that we have penetration issues. Yet we sell a more valuable service. What is wrong with us here? Do you get my point? There's really a disconnect. If people can spend 150 billion on something that makes no sense, yeah? And we struggle to make 150 billion on something that makes sense and is vital to our lives, we need to ask ourselves which schools we went to. You know, let's not have that Mungatana story. I'm sure you've all seen it. Now the judge asks you, which school did you go to? And you say Alliance. And then you ask, and you took 76 million shillings and took it to someone for them to triple it. The judge looks at him and says, are you crazy? You already have 76 million. How can it be tripled by another human being? And you know, I believe they could triple the money from it. So that's the guy, which school did you go to? He says Alliance. And he says, maybe the school had a problem. And yet we say Alliance is the best school in Kenya. So let's not be from Alliance. That's the moral of the story. I think another thing for you guys. No, just, I mean, but it's insights I'm giving you that are really, I think, powerful. I think another thing that is big, you know, loans, customers using loan products. And I think this is where the telcos are getting this thing. And I think you need to find ways to partner and collaborate with them because, you know, they have over 16 million guys taking loans. And it's very innovative, you know, they don't come and tell you take money. They tell you, what do you want? You want airtime. I will loan you airtime. Yeah? I will loan you data. We have products where the advertising has changed for Safcom so much. We have a product called 0D, where when you run out of data, they take you to a portal and tell you, if you listen to 3 adverts, 3 full adverts, we'll give you 100 MB. Yeah. Now, guess how many guys on that product? They already have like 15 million people taking that product. Now, guess the data around that product. You can be able to tell you, So if you're selling insurance, you can go to them and tell them, I want guys in Western Kenya, male, 18 to 25, earning a salary of X to Y, and they will give you that data. But what are we still doing from an advertising perspective? We put a full page in Nation. Who looks at Nation? Yeah. So these things are happening and they are creating massive revenue opportunities. And I think the insurance sector, in a way, we're in a good position because it's still so virgin, but I think we can create more scale if we just try and innovate, because it's also very specific and very few people understand it, but it's something that is so needed by people, but we just need to package it in a way that makes sense to them. So as I wind up, I don't want to maliza your energy. I'm sure I'm standing between you and lunch, so let me try and just run this down. I think for me, when I look at the industry, and I think Western has done an excellent job in just giving you actual opportunities. So I'll just create narratives that you need to look at. So if you look at the youthful population across Kenya, across Africa, East Africa, I think that realize your opportunity. A lot of these guys between 1834, as you know, have no policies, they have no insurance products. Can we tailor-make products that talk to them, that speak to them? If they're using financial products, 71% loan products via Okoa, Jahazi, and all these products, why can't we look for ways to partner with telcos and get them to, because they've got massive bases in terms of customers, and start to get to those people. Give a product so I can pay 5 shillings a day like Skiza, and if it talks to a life insurance, why not? And those guys have platforms where it's auto-deducted, so you don't even have to do the collection. Yeah, so it's automatic, comes of airtime. They do airtime billing, they do a M-Pesa billing. So all these things, they're connected APIs we can leverage. How can we develop products that speak to these things? I mean, I work in an insurance company, and I know the first thing guys tell me is go and talk to the actuary. Are there actuaries here? Those are now the guys who shikilia this industry. And I know what the discussions will be. But I think we need to really get out of those comfort zones and start pushing in terms of where we want the industry to go to. I think platforms are the next big thing. When I look at all of you here, I'm sure everyone has an app. Yeah, every company here has an app. I'm very, very sure of that. I'm sure everyone has gone and done an app. It's a fantastic app. But did you know, and if you look at your phone, you probably use less than 10% of the apps on your phone. Yeah, and the apps you use, and I can tell you, WhatsApp, Chanel. Which are on your bank app, because you need money. M-Pesa, because you need to transfer money and stuff. Which other app do you use? Maybe Facebook, maybe Instagram for this. Uber, yeah. GSTV, maybe entertainment. Basically, what am I saying? You use less than 10% of the apps on your phone. And I'm sure you have numerous apps on that phone. Yeah, and when you're downloading it, there's excitement. But when it comes to usage, people do not use the apps that they download. So what am I saying? Your customers may be downloading your apps, yes. And you may be very happy that they've been downloaded. But are they being used? I don't think so. So, you know, you need to create or get into partnerships with apps that people have value on. So Safaricom has an app where they house everyone. Maybe that's why you need your app house, because then the incidence of it being used becomes a bit higher. So look at those apps again. Look at maybe entertainment apps. How can you integrate into those apps? How can you get partnerships into those apps? Because people want music, they want to listen to music, they want to do those apps. Products. Okay, so products. I'm just telling you. So products, create products that are lifestyle based, simple to understand, on demand in terms of reach through the mobile marketing distribution. I think digital experience driven. the young people you're talking to are very lifestyle driven. So, create products that talk to lifestyles. When I look at guys like Outsurance in SA, they do a lot of that. There's a lot of lifestyle products, register for a gym, and it comes with a bundle that's in the gym membership, there's vitality, all these things. So how do we do that? Even for things like motor or medical and all the classes of insurance. How are they connecting to their lifestyles? Because that's where the passion comes from and the emotion is. The emotion comes through in terms of purchasing a decision. So, yeah, I mean, I'll wind up by saying, if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude. So this is a quote from Maya Angelou, a lady American Black poet and writer of significance. And I think it speaks to a lot of things here. I'd love to come to this session and hear the penetration is 20% in 2 years' time or 3 years' time. But I'd hate it if I came and it was still 3-point-something% in the next 3 or 4 years. But I also believe we're in capable hands, and I'm sure you guys will do a good job at solving the challenges that face the industry. So thank you very much, and thanks for taking time to listen to me.
Thank you very much. I know this is usually the one that elicits a lot of questions, so I hope you all have a lot of questions to ask. Just 5 things I personally picked. We sound like a broken record, isn't it? We've been saying the same thing for too long. Demographics, the population in the region is enough to make us stand out in the world, isn't it? And Masfin gave a very good indication of that. Matters in regard to change, he spoke about change. If you don't change, change will change you. These days we have a digital economy. We have the metaverse. We talked about it there. We need to come up with products on how to ensure digital real estate. Does that make sense? Am I speaking to myself? People are buying assets up there, isn't it? Assets you can't touch, assets you can't see, but they're there, isn't it? Okay, and then if you can't beat them, join them. We talked about banks. They're coming into our industry. They're doing what? Now who is here? We call them the MNOs. If you can't beat them, join them. Simple solutions, and I think we are very guilty, our industry, on analysis paralysis. We talk about the problem, we look at it in all different angles, but never get anywhere with that. And finally, Kenyans are peculiar. Where they spend money, how they spend their money. And the example we give about the ringtones. So now, that is what I took home from that. Any questions, any feedback? So Mesfin and Danny, please note any questions that may come up, then you're going to answer them. Any questions from the floor? Any comments? Yes. One question? Okay, all right. Any other question? There's one on the chat. I don't have my eyes. I'll read it out. Let's first listen to and I'll read it
out. Thank you. My name is Haron. I'm a client. My question is to Mesfin. How is Africa supporting, African business? Given a discussion yesterday, by 2030, AIG in America will not be supporting coal, in energy sector as well as thermal. And perhaps you can share maybe the plans of Africa in supporting the emerging risk in Africa. And also, it has really shown us the opportunities that are there. But for these underwriters not to write motto, perhaps maybe next time maybe you have a slide of how you can support agriculture business in Africa. How do you support the local underwriters so that that capacity can be built so that we also don't lose revenue to other insurance players. Thank you. And maybe to Dan, just to correct on that, is 20 years, not 10 years for Arsenal. So Manchester, but I won't say which Manchester.
I could read the question.
That is actually a question of the charter. It appears not relevant to this conversation, but different.
Okay, all right, fine. Okay. Any other questions?
Let me just weigh in on what has just been said. That's when you talked about oil and gas being on a. Okay, thank you. I'm just weighing on what has just been said right now. That's when you talked about oil and gas being an opportunity in insurance. But you realize that we have very little capacity on that. Very few insurers, locally and abroad, are willing to go to that line of business. What we call risk appetite is a bit low in that line. As Africa here and being a lead in this market, what are you doing to support us to get into that opportunity? We have seen the opportunity, but with less capacity, and we are not able to move there. Thank you.
Any other question? Now I have my eyes, I can see everyone.
Okay, thank you very much for those questions. Let me start from the business support, especially those risks which the international companies are trying to go out from. I gave an example, for example, for refugee dam, which the international company was willing to support, but Africa is stepped in and actually supported and realized that project to almost now it is almost finalizing. So on core business, yes, we have also a pressure from rating agencies, because that's one of the requirements that whether we are writing such risks and whether we are supporting environmental and green energy. Yeah, we try to explain to them that yes, we are trying by phasing it out, but not immediately like the other companies, because the African government or the African people need to be ready to move from to renewable energy. It can't happen immediately. So there are some risks which are in our book still, which are coal power plants, coal-fired power plants. So we support in such cases. It is not only coal, by the way, even tobacco, beer factories. They are serious. So those companies are very serious, especially when the rating agency comes to you, and if you don't want to downgrade your ratings, you need to have those justifications. Because if you are supporting tobacco manufacturing company or farm, they are thinking that you are supporting someone which is damaging the health of the people or the community. But some country like Malawi, they depend their income on tobacco. So we can't run away from them immediately. Even Malawi is not a signatory, but we support because we are African. On agri support, yes, we have even an agri desk, agri specialists and the writers, and we do support it. Also, we lead some of the treaties, like the one I told you, like for Zambia. We are actually co-leading with one international company. So even if it is loss making, but we are here to support the African farmers. it is cyclic. You might get one profitable, it might be profitable one season, the next season might be loss making. So on oil and gas opportunity, yeah, what I was trying to stress is we need to start somewhere. Yes, we don't have capacity, we don't have knowledge, but we need to start it somewhere. Rather than saying that, no, we don't have capacity, we don't have skill, knowledge, so that it can go out. We need to start. I know some reinsurers in Africa have capacity, when Africa has around $150 million. We manage also Africa oil and gas pool. So you can have, for example, in Uganda, I think there is a pool. They try to set up oil and energy pool. Even in Kenya, there is it. They are trying to do something. So we can, we can start from there by collaborating together rather than fighting on the business. When we come together, we can support the industry, we can support our clients, and we can support the development of our industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Danny. There are no more questions. Just from what Mesfin has just said, just a while back, we started having the ESG conversation. I know you had it yesterday. And one of the questions that troubles me is that they're going where they are coming from. You understand? So the nuclear, the coal and everything. And then I was going to ask, for how long are we going to be able to take advantage of what you're saying? But what Mesfin has essentially told us is make hay while the sun shines. By the time they come and swipe it up, we'll have made our money, isn't it? Okay, all right. So even capacity building, there's this question we've been asking ourselves, whose responsibility is it? Is it the insurer? Is it the regulator? Is it us? Is it you? Are we the players? Whose responsibility is it to build that capacity? Challenge for us, but we've been challenged. You seem to want to say something.
Yeah, I forgot to mention one thing. Africa has a program called Young Insurance Professional Program. And it is an online training. It takes, maybe I don't know someone took it from here. Is there someone who took? It's surprising because it is famous. It is called Young Insurance.
One person at the corner.
Yeah. So it is an intensive program for insurance and reinsurance. And we train around 1,000 people per year. Now it is the fifth round. Next year it will be the sixth, and it is free. So please use this opportunity to roll in and try to scale up your knowledge and skill, and also encourage your young professionals to take advantage of it. That's one of the way we try to develop the insurance industry.
All right, thank you. He's gotten himself out of there, so the ball is on the rest of us, our role to play capacity building. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you very much.
We sincerely appreciate you. Let's give them one more round of applause. Thank you so much. And now I request that going forward, we may not check on much on the time in terms of our phones, but we will regulate it from here nicely.